Let's get this party crazy. I did not tweet out. I just realized I did not tweet out. I did not advertise. So, hey, everyone, welcome to Hack Shack Studios. I'm RT Bear, 35-year comic book veteran of this wild and wacky industry that we know and love, and that is hurting right now a little bit because of this pandemic, this crazy pandemic. I have so many things to talk about and so many things to do. So I thought I would do it live. I would do it hanging out with you guys. Yeah, there's nothing like hanging out with your friends and talking about pandemic, possibly illegal drug use, and doing some drawing. So I'm going to combine all my favorite things: comics, drugs, and drawing, and hanging out with you guys. Just for the record, all the drug talk, if there is any, there probably will be, is all in the past. It's all in the past. Hey, I should get this. I wanted to do this. I don't want to dox anyone, so I'll show this side of it. I forget who it was in the chat that I said send. They wanted something signed, so I said send it to me and I'll sign it up. So that's what I'm going to do here right now. Like I said, this is me doing work and hanging out, and so this is going to be probably a little odd and strange. Oh, here's the return. It's got the stamp. If you guys send me things, make sure you give me post to send it back. So it says, "Hi Art, thanks again for accepting to do this. It really means a lot. You've been a top 5 artist of mine since your work on X-Men with Jim Lee and your cable miniseries. On the reverse is a rough of what I was thinking for the signature cards. Sorry for the crude. All black is cool. The color was for me, so I didn't overlap the logos. You have another idea, that would be cool. Also, leave it up to your artistic discretion." Holy crap. This sounds like a lot more detail than I thought. Some sheets of Bristol. Feel free to keep what doesn't get used. Joe. Oh, this is Mighty Joe Young. So, but you didn't. Oh. That's cool. So I think he wants me to sign my old, the old AT with the new signature, and he sent me a sheet of Bristol board. So I will. He gave me a couple sheets in case I screw up, which you never know. I probably will. So cool. That's what I'll do. I think I said I would do it live. We're doing it live. So I have to figure out how to ink that big. I don't know how to ink that big. I've never signed my name that big before. All right. Well, let's get this party crazy. You know what? Before I do this, I shouldn't be rude and say hi to you guys. We got quite a few people in the chat, so that is good. We got Cam. How are you, brother? Hell Art and Hell Drugs. Yeah, I started thinking about just the amount of exposure to drugs that I've had, especially in my early life. It's pretty. Oh, there's Joe. There's Joe right there. Joe, I'm going to do your thing. I'm going to do your thing live. What's up? What's up, gaming or what? Leg kick one. Hello, Spirits Car. Did someone say drugs? Hi, Art. There's no drugs. The reason I'm going to talk about drugs, I'm just going to give you guys some reference here, is I'm going to do the Raffle art. So this is Mike Mignola's HR Puffin stuff. And so there's been a lot of connections with this TV show, this children's TV show, to drugs and possible drug usage. So that's where the drugs come in. But I'm also going to talk about my past antics with illegal substances. Maybe I should. I'm going to probably get demonetized because I put drugs right in the description. They could be prescription drugs though. They don't have to be legal. Tinfoil Oracle, what's up, brother? There's Mighty Joe again. Did you get the boards? I said, yeah, they're right here. Yeah, like I said, I've never signed my name that big before. So this should be fun. I'm going to go on Skitch's show in a few hours. So yeah. So if you don't know, Skits Comics has a YouTube channel. Go check it out. And he and I are going to hang out 2 o'clock, I think, Pacific Standard Time. So it's almost noon right now. So I have a couple hours to hang out with you guys and do some razzle dazzle, as I always do. Hell Art, Hell Chat can stick around. Oh, this probably can't stick around at work. Oh, okay. Well, it's good to have you, Jude, for even a little bit of time. Talking Super Soldier Serum. Yeah, those are drugs. Yeah. Dude, I'd be dangerous if I was on Super Soldier Serum. We're talking about drugs here. We're talking about that 4-letter word. Drug. Hi. Are you high tonight? There's Mighty Joe Young. Awesome. I'm getting to see this live. Yeah, I told you I would do it live. Drug-free abuse. Dude, oh my gosh. Just in a nutshell, okay, my sister dealt drugs like crystal meth, like crazy shit. We used to do like family get-togethers when we'd all come. She'd chop up some lines. We'd go in my dad's den and we'd just do some blow. It was crazy. It was pretty nuts. And when I was in bands, one of the guitar players I played with was shooting heroin. God, it was pretty nuts. My best friend dealt. He didn't. I guess it's not considered hard stuff, but he dealt pot. My brother went to jail for dealing cocaine. So yeah, there's a lot of drug usage, and I was somewhere mixed in all of this stuff. I was kind of caught up in all of it. I'm not going to say that I didn't do things, because there was a period of time I was constantly wasted. My first maybe 6 or 7 years, even working professionally in the comics industry, I used to do San Diego Comic-Con, freaking obliterated, man. I mean, we used to drink right in Artist Alley. I'd have a cooler, igloo cooler, and I'd pass out beverages, and we'd be boozing right there at the show. We had our little styrofoam cups, and it was nuts. And I think most of the time at the show, we never slept. We just 3-4 days constantly. There was one night we had a friend of ours, and we were pretty partied out one night, so we wanted to keep going. And he drove from LA to San Diego with a bunch of blow. So we ended up doing cocaine all night and staying up, and then doing the show the next day. It was pretty nuts. I was fairly popular at those shows because we had the killer parties, man, at the Hotel San Diego in the day. Okay, no drugs for me. I live vicariously through Cecil. Yeah, Cecil's a drinker. I did do my share of drinking, but I wasn't a big. I can't say that either. It all went hand in hand. There was a time. There was a time when, like I said, it was probably from the time I was 14 to probably 26, 27. Just serious partying. Just got back from the dentist. Hopefully you got some good drugs. Yeah, so that's a little bit of just kind of giving you an overall of where this stream is going to go. And like I said, I probably won't be monetized because I put drugs right there in the description. But I don't know, man. I have a friend, had a friend. He's still the same as he always has, and he always used to go, "We're living, Art. This is life," and we just get obliterated. We never left parties until the keg was empty. Like we would be those obnoxious guys that would stay at these parties until everything was done. Yeah, it was pretty nuts. It was pretty crazy. Yeah, but that was the old me. As soon as you get, well, I can't say as soon as, because I was still working professionally. But I was, still doing some pretty nutty stuff. Yeah, so I'm laying out this because this is a little bit more so, or more detail than I thought I was going to get into for Mighty Joe. Mighty Joe. So I think I have this, and then he said put the AT over on the side with the little box around it. So I got a rough layout here. I should give you the third signature too, like this, the way I sign books. So you have all the above. So now I need to get a marker. Yeah, so my sister, this is the thing. I think when I stopped doing as much of the partying, I think I started seeing the writing on the wall with friends and family. I started, like, my sister and her husband, they sold drugs, they sold pot, and they also, I think they were doing okay till they started dealing like meth, and then it started getting pretty bad. And so their marriage fell apart. They just had a little one. And so I started seeing things like that. I started seeing my friends kind of not moving on with their lives, and seeing how destructive some of these substances can be with addictive personalities. So I think I was always pretty driven, like ambitious, even as a younger guy. So I think I saw it as getting in the way, but it took a long time for me to figure it out. And I must say, I mean, it was a lot of fun, and I have some killer stories, or like my friend who's really not too much of my friend anymore, because of the drug and alcohol use. He used to say, "Look at the stories we got to tell. Look at all this." And I look back and I'm like, yeah, I got stories, but I got other stories too that are just as cool, that didn't, have drugs involved. So, but yeah, there was a lot of stuff, especially when I played in bands. There's a lot of drinking and drugs, and you guys got to remember, I'm an older guy. This is mid 70s, mid late 70s, all the way probably to the mid late 80s. So it was pretty good. I also, this was I felt sorry for anybody who came after me, generationally speaking, is I was pre-AIDS. So drugging and sexing and drinking, there wasn't as much backlash as there is now. so there was still venereal diseases and things like that, and pregnancies, but those were, when you think about it, those were kind of minimal compared to dying, from AIDS. But that was kind of the scare. But I was in a pretty committed relationship by that time, so that AIDS thing it was never really too much of a concern, and I didn't have a lifestyle that I had to worry about. Man, this is a lot more work, Mighty Joe, than I thought. I've never signed my name this big before. Okay, so let's get this out of the way so I can start on my HR Puff and Stuff doodle. Okay, so there's the T. I got do a lot of doubling up because I got to thicken this line up. So there's that. There's that. If you guys don't know, I used to go by AT, like on covers and things like that. So I used to sign covers like that. It was kind of the time of initials. So I think I always liked, Frank Miller, the FM. And I remember having a conversation with Todd McFarlane. Either it was with Todd or it was like through Greg Capullo, and because Greg Capullo used to sign his stuff GC, and then I did AT. And if you look at the black and white variant cover that we did, it has that in there, the old signatures from Greg and I. And so I think it was Greg, and we were talking, and Greg was saying that Todd said you should sign your name, you should spell it out. And so he said, because it's branding your name, not like this symbol or whatever, and so people can tell. And so I started doing conventions, and people were like, AT, that's you. That's you. That's RT Bear. And I was like, yeah. So there was this disconnect. It was really weird that there was this disconnect, that there was this AT guy, but then there was RT Bear as well. So Todd was right. There does become a little bit of confusion in the marketplace. So I ditched the AT. But the thing is, if you look at Bat's signature, Matt Banning, if you put a B right here and add another T, that's his signature. He swiped my signature. And so when I saw that was the apple, or that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And so I stopped signing my name that way and started signing my full name, the T-Bear, and started getting into more of that stuff. It took a while, but I thought it was good advice. All the banging, dude. Like when you're in a band, like a successful band, which I was with TKO, locally, you're the freaking hero, man. You play all the high schools, you play all the functions, you play everything. I used to have jocks going in, can I get into, your party, whatever, when it would be like sold out or when it would be fully booked. And it's like they would have their girlfriend on their arm, and it's like, come on, man, be cool, get me in. And I never was like beat up because of a nerd or anything like that. I played sports too, so I knew all those guys. But I just thought it was funny, like, where you have the rockers or the nerds, and then you have the jocks and the popular guys. And I got in with all those guys. Like being in a band, you bridge the gap of all that stuff. And so you're friends with everybody because they want to go to the shows and the parties and stuff like that. So it's pretty neat. It's like, once a week, every weekend, your band has the party du jour. So the destination most kids want to be at on the weekends. So it was pretty cool, and we used to make quite a bit of money too. Wow, I'm going back in the chat. You guys are busy, busy, busy. Art spilling his family secrets. That's right. The house built on illegal drug selling. I don't think my sister ever got busted, but she's a mess. She's a mess, and she raised a kid that's a mess. I'm not going to get into those family secrets, but pretty nutty. Yeah, you guys, drugs destroy lives. These are real Comic Pro secrets. Sometimes I think, was it expecting crystal meth? I'll tell you right now, though, crystal meth, don't do it. Don't do it. It's nasty, nasty, nasty shit. If you're gonna snort something, just snort like pure cocaine. Just do coke. It's way better. Crystal it's just nasty. I made a mistake at a New Year's party, and I thought it was just like bad coke, but it was meth. And I was doing a lot, like, because you get used to doing a certain amount of drugs, you know how your body will respond. And I just thought it was crappy stuff, and I was pretty drunk when I was doing it as well. So I wasn't really fully functional, and I just wanted to party. But I believe I was up 3 days. I couldn't sleep. For 3 days. It was nasty, and I think that's when I pretty much just stopped doing any of that, like blow, speed, that type stuff, because it's not good. Nothing matter with weed. Weed made me sleepy. I became very docile, so I wasn't. I probably wasn't the best to hang out with. Captain Clockwork. What is this? So I was coloring the pages inked by someone who was high. Oh, are you the one that's coloring this stuff on and posted it on Twitter? If so, pretty good. Yeah, I haven't been like that in 30, 40 years. So, yeah, you ink lines, keep the schedule. You ink all those lines and keep the schedule. Might need a bump to keep up. Yeah, it was never that, though. I had friends that were like that. Like, I got to get high before I create and stuff like that. It was never a crutch. It was never like I needed to do this. And to be honest, I was also more of a social partier than a private partier. So I think privately, the most I ever did was like drink a little bit, but it was mostly socially. So it wasn't that hardcore. So hi, Art, had a question. In storytelling, what suspenseful challenges are unique to the competent hero as opposed to origin story heroes? Hi, Art, had a question. In storytelling, what suspenseful challenges are unique to competent hero as opposed to origin stories? I don't even know how to answer that. A competent hero, you mean like just a hero that's already starting, that's fully realized, and then opposed to like a story where a hero is born? Because I'm not really sure if like you're talking about like a fully formed hero, and then like opposed to an origin story where you get to see the hero kind of progress. If so, I think there are many, many different answers and many different ways that you could take that. Um, and there are too many variables, I think, to get into right now. But it's a good question. Sorry I couldn't help. Hash Shack Studios. Yeah, I actually liked smoking hash. It was I don't know. I kind of liked it. We smoked with the pipe. Uh, Psychedelics, okay. I never did acid, and I never wanted to because most of my friends were douchebags, and I didn't trust them, and I knew they would f with my head. So I never did. I was always around people that did, so it wasn't like I didn't have access to it. But I never did it because I didn't trust my friends because we used to party till we crashed, like till we fell asleep and couldn't go any longer. And then we would go. Most of us worked at the same place. Like we had summer jobs, so we worked at the drive-in theater, and they had like swap meets. So we'd wake up in the morning and then we would just carpool to work. And there were three of us, and there were more than that partied, but the three of us worked at the same place. So we had this thing that whoever passed out first that night, something humiliating would happen. So they would either wake up with a toilet seat around their head, they'd be wrapped up in toilet paper like a mummy, they would have eyebrows or scars or whatever drawn on their faces with Sharpies, they would have a handful of poo, just stupid bad stuff. And so it makes you become a party professional. We used to call them being a party professional. So I can honestly say I was never the first to crash. I was never that guy. So because I never wanted to be humiliated like that. So I never did like hallucinogens with those guys because I saw what they did to each other, and I did not want to be involved with that at all. But I did do. I think I did mushrooms with Brian Murray from Extreme Studios. I think he was working over at Continuity, Neil Adams' studio at the time, and we were at San Diego Comic-Con. And God, I can't remember who it was. I got to meet like a major DC player, like an oldster. I forget who it was. But we were in the lobby of some hotel, and there were these crystal chandeliers, and they were moving all over the place, and the ground was throbbing. It was pretty bizarre. It was fun. I had a good time, but I remember just trying not to laugh at everything when I was talking to that guy. So I must have seemed like the weirdest dude ever. But the reason that is, one, Brian is a cooler dude. That's why I did it, and it goes out of your system quicker. Depends on how much you do, but like you can have flashbacks, like acid flashbacks and stuff like that. And I worked with Jim Valentino, and Jim Valentino did. I think everybody knows that guy's a big druggie. So we used to smoke pot, but he did acid, and he would have these like lapses of memory. Like he'd be talking, and then he'd start right back up, and he never missed a beat. But he would just go away. And I had another friend that just blew his mind, and we used to call them Gosbies. They're like zombies, I guess you'd call them zombies now. And you can tell, like those guys, that their minds, they can still function, but their minds just aren't there because they kind of have this like, yeah, okay. Even when they're not high, they're just not there. Potato Head. Cam says Art would have been one of those potato head teens I saw when I was a kid. Yeah. Yeah, let's get back to business. Hell chat. Smash that like button. Woohoo! I'm spilling it all right now. Yeah. And to be honest, I was kind of in relationships in and out while I was in band, so I didn't quite take advantage of that as much as maybe I could have. The weirdest thing is once I stopped playing, like live with bands and stuff, I noticed that I had to work on my game because I didn't have much of a game as far as getting ladies because I was in the band. You don't really have to work on a personality when you're in a band. It's pretty easy. And so once I wasn't in the band anymore, if I wanted to be with a lady, I had to work on my skills, my lady skills. And the thing is, all my friends are way taller than I. And so when we go nightclubbing and stuff like that, man, I'll just advise if you're like a shorter guy or like a middle height guy, don't go out with your tall friends. The ladies, even if they're shorter, they still like the tall guys. And in a nightclub, taller guys stand out. So feel free to keep things private. No way, man. No way. I'm an open book. Just do coke. It's way better. Wonderful life advice from Art. No, that's not what I was saying at all. It is better though. It is way better. Okay, what best drug song, best drug rock song? Geez. The one I always think of is the Bob Marley. That's not quite a rock song, but like I smoked 2 joints before I smoked 2 joints, and then I smoked 2 more. I smoked 2 joints. Art endorses endorsement for cocaine kids. Meth is bad news. Just snort coke instead, and knowing is half the battle. There you go. Yes. So if you guys take anything away from this stream, cocaine is better. It's more expensive too. Oh my gosh. Oh, dude. We used to hang out. We used to just hang out at night and just walk the streets. We were just punks. So we're probably around 17, maybe 18. And this guy in this 280Z pulls up on the street. He says, "Hey, do you know where this street is, this address?" And so we're like, "Yeah, we know where it's at." And then he said, "Could you write it down, or could you tell me?" So we did. This guy was so messed up, he couldn't understand anything we said. So he said, "Could you take me there?" Like, so we piled into his car. This is just like a 2-seater car, so we're all like just crammed into this car. I think there were 3 of us or something. I don't know how we got into this car, but we did. We got him to his destination. So this guy had more coke than I've ever seen in my lifetime. Like, he just had bags full of it. And then he said, "Do you guys do any of this?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, here, for to thank you guys for helping me here." We didn't have a container for it or anything. He was just going to pour it out. So we had just like cassette cases for our Walkmans. And so he's pouring it in. We took the tape out and he's pouring it into these cassette cases, and we're trying to seal them, and it's just getting everywhere. Like, it's just pouring. Like, this guy he had so much of it. It was going like all of his car. This guy was like a just drug bust waiting to happen, right? So we filled up I think 3 cases full, 3 cassette cases full of this stuff. And we tried to clean it off the best we could because my friend had a backpack. So we're going to put it in the backpack, but we were smart enough to know that any of this powder is just going to be evidence. So we tried to be as cautious and as careful as we could. And so we just started walking around. So we were just like, we got to do this stuff, right? I mean, what do you do if you have it? You know what it is? My favorite drug song is Comfortably Numb. So there you go. When you set up Pink Floyd, I just remembered. I've been in the hospital and have been on serious morphine as well. And all I could ever think of is like that song Comfortably Numb. And it is blissful. I understand why heroin and morphine and these drugs are addicting, because they're kind of blissful, but you're always chasing that high, and you can never get it back. The first couple times are always the best, and that's why you have to keep upping the dosage. But anyway, so we're walking around, and there's like this old folks home, and it's like a trailer park old folks home. And so we just walked in there, and there's a rec room, and the door was open. So we went in there and we set up shop, and they had a pool table and one of those shuffle boards and all that stuff. So we ended up just doing the stuff, shooting pool and playing shuffleboard all night. All night. We were just doing rails right off the pool table. It was crazy. It was, oh my God, it was freaking nuts. And we were not even tired. We were so wired. And then all of a sudden we looked out the window and the sun's coming up. The sun's coming up, and we're like, holy shit, we've been partying all night. So we were just drinking. And if you guys do any drinking, and if you do any blow, you can drink all freaking night. Like you can put anybody under the table. At least I could when I mixed the two. So yeah, this is probably getting way too into artists, the Keith Richards of comics. Not anymore, you guys. I did see the damage. So this is not like me glamorizing this stuff. Like I said, my sister is way messed up. My brother did time. I never had anybody die, but I've seen friends just blow their minds on different hallucinogens and drugs, and people freaking out, just basically just getting in their own way and destroying their own lives. So, like I said early on, I had too much I wanted to do, because even then, like, I was trying to get into the nightclubs. I was kind of our business manager too when I was in the bands. So, Snowblind. There's Snowblind by Ace Frehley. That's a cocaine song. And I guess there's, the Black Sabbath song too. Break On Through, Casey Jones, Wonderwall, Lucy in the Sky, Snowblind, Agreed. There's a lot of them. I just can't think of them right now. Rocky Mountain Way. Art gave Tony Montana directions. This guy was so 80s, like what were they called? Yuppies or dinks? Was it double income something, no kids or something like that? This guy was like, he was dressed like he had the 280Z, like he had the cool car and everything. That guy that gave us the coke, he was pretty successful. Always put dare stickers on your car to keep the cops away. That's brilliant, man. I wish I would have hung out with you, Yule, in the day. I never got busted. I went to jail, but, well, I was drunk. It was a breaking and entering charge. Okay, so there was some breaking and entering. So I was a punk. Animate the cocaine cassette case story, please. I'll back that campaign. I'm not kidding. It was spilling all over the place. It was like the sands of time. Like it was insane. It was crazy. You guys are crazy in the chat, man. I'm never gonna move forward because you guys are just lighting up the chat. So what I wanted to do, just to move things forward, is I'm going to transfer this Mike Mignola drawing. This is what got us all on the drugs. This is HR Puffin stuff. So I think the saying is HR Puffin stuff. He can't do a little because he can't do enough. So I think that was an excess tagline, like he was just excessive in his drug use. There's a lot of, I guess, controversy that maybe, what were they called? Sid and Marty Krofft, the brothers, were maybe doing a lot of hallucinogens in the day. I think it makes for some really interesting stories. I saw some documentaries on the brothers, and they designed amusement park attractions. There's a band from the 70s who talk about acid trip or whatever. They were called Angel. They were the antithesis to Kiss. So Kiss was all black, and these guys were all in all white. And they had this like Sphinx-looking character that came up and rose in the back, and it was like a puppet, and it would talk. And I remember when I saw that, I was, we were smoking dust. We were smoking angel dust. I was like 16 years old. I was like 16. I just remember I was laying in the back of my friend. He had like one of those rag top VWs. Just laying in the back, just watching the power poles go by. I was so messed up. But when I saw that thing rise up and then I saw it talk, it freaked me out, man. It freaked me out. But then I found out years later that those guys did the effects, the Sid and Marty Krofft guys. And also, if you want to hear a heartbreaker story about being creative and getting ripped off, those guys were hired by McDonald's Corporation to design like mascots. Like this McDonald Land that became McDonald Land. So there was Mayor McCheese and all these characters. And I always thought there's a similarity between that and HR Puffin stuff. And it turns out the DNA was those guys. Those guys created all that stuff. And then McDonald's didn't want to give them ownership. Oh, yeah, you guys know. White Hot, yeah. 78. I think it was probably 77 or earlier than that I saw the band, though. It was at the Long Beach Arena. And so they did the designs for McDonald's, and then somehow, I can't remember the details, but McDonald's like decided they weren't going to give them ownership, or they weren't going to pay them, or some bullshit, man. And so the deal went sour. And so the brothers, they sued them. So they sued McDonald's, and I guess McDonald's had enough attorneys, and they had enough attorneys that it was like in litigation for years. That's the problem with some of these things, is it's whoever has the deeper pockets who's going to win the case. And so they did win, but I guess McDonald's moved forward on it anyways. They changed everything, and they moved forward with the McDonald's Happy Meal, whatever the hell it was, McDonald's Land. I forget what it was called overall. You know, they had Mayor McCheese, and what was it? Big Mac was the cop or something. I don't remember all. They had like French fry, and they had some kind of thief. He was the Hamburglar or some kind of craziness. And so they just ripped them off, and they changed it, and then they launched it, and it was a huge success. So by the time, this was the irony, by the time those brothers, the Sid and Marty Krofft brothers, won, they did win the case, but they won for what the initial suit was for. It was like $1.5 million or something like that. But now this franchise is worth $1 billion. You know what I mean? Like McDonald's turned it into $1 billion corporation. So then McDonald's ended up having the last laugh because they made billions, even though they paid those guys out $1.5 million. So McDonald's told them to burger off. They sure freaking did. I hate hearing stories like that. I hate hearing corporations like Disney and these companies that can, because they have money, they can do freaking anything, man. They can rip you off in a heartbeat. Did Pale Rider do way too much acid in the 90s? Well, more power to you, man. I know most of my friends that did that did not come back from that exchange. Art Liam Cecil, The Things You Learn. Cam's got a HR Puffin stuff. That's how I spell puffin stuff too, but I think it's like puff and then it's just an N and it's stuff without an F on the end. I think. Not that I'm clear, but that's how I spell it too, but I don't think that's the way they spell it. Of course, it has to have some kind of weird drug spelling. HR Puffin Stuff was the kind of show that pissed me off when I was a kid. Just garbage to me. I don't know. I think I was pretty young. I think I liked it. I think I liked the show, and I believe they even released it as a movie. And I remember my sister bringing me to the movies to watch it. I remember liking it. I liked it so much, you guys. I'm going to be drawing today with Freddie Flute. So I have some things left from my childhood. And so I guess through Kellogg's or whatever, if you saved so many bottle tops and sent them like 50 cents or $1, you could get like this free flute. And it's still big by adult standards, but for a kid's hands, this is like almost like a full-size flute, and you could play it. And these little marks right here, it had a jaw, like a mouth, and it could move back and forth. So you could make Freddie talk, I guess, because I think he was a talking flute. And so it's basically a whistle, but I think it had buttons for keys. And I guess if you played it long enough, you could figure out how to play a song. But yeah, Freddie's going to be hanging out with me while I'm doing this, and I should do it soon. But before I start, I got to show you this. We're packing up artwork now, and I sold a good old friend yesterday or the day before. So this is X-Men 285, page 1, Will's Portaccio pencils and my inks. Down the rabbit hole. So this goes with the theme. Alice in Wonderland, big drug concept. So I thought this would be fitting, especially with the title. And I wanted to show you guys this. I don't know. I whenever I sell this stuff, I always have like mixed emotions. At first, I'm like happy that I'm going to make some money. And then I'm a little sad because I've held on to this thing for probably 26, 27 years. So yeah, all the lettering's right on the board. This isn't paste up, you guys. So yeah, Will's Portaccio in the days. And I wanted to show you this too. So this is, I don't know if you can see this, but this is going to be for the Second Chance campaign. So I'm not sure if it's going to be a variant cover or a print. And it's black and white, sticking it to the bots. So this is on my drawing board right now. And I think I have a better image of it. I'll show you. So if you guys want to support, wait, I just screwed up. Do this, click this, click this, click this, and then go down to here. Okay, so you should be seeing, this is the rough, this is the layout. And so the version I just showed you, that's me light boxing and putting things, like tightening things up and putting costumes on characters and light sources and rendering and stuff like this. So this is kind of a take on issue 3's cover of Black and White in the Day from 1994. So that's Reed Blackett, aka Black, just blasting the midsection out of this one robot. And so that's Whitney Sung, aka White, using her power staff and lopping the head, off this robot here. So yeah, this is what I'm working on right now. And there is a free trading card by Zach Bradley. and it came out amazing. And it's a 25th anniversary trading card. So if you go to the pre-launch page, the black and white pre-launch second chance page, and sign up, you will be eligible for that trading card absolutely free with a backing of one of the tiers. So that's my little business, my business hat. I'll take it off, boom, put my my artist hat back on. So yeah, the link is in the description, you guys, and I'm going to be grabbing some paper here. This is 12, what is it, 9x12 paper. And so I'm going to light box this Mike Mignola drawing. The reason I have to light box and I didn't blue line it is because I can't do my ink wash. Well, I can, but it just doesn't, sometimes it doesn't look that good. So I'm going to transfer it here. Most of the time it does look good, but there's some stuff, like when I blue line my own work, it comes out better, but there's a lot of side of pencil stuff that Mike's doing on these. And I don't want to, if it was all blue line ink, then when I go into do my ink wash, where the hell is my pencil? There it is. So I tried to do something different so I can actually talk to you guys with the camera and draw. So I have my light table here, little portable light box. And so I'm using it like a lap board here, so I can hang out with you guys and draw. So that's kind of the thing here. So I'm gonna lay this out real quick and try to be social with you guys. And so the idea, we did this twice, and it came out. I had a lot of fun, and I think you guys did too, where Mike Mignola is posting a lot of these drawings, and he's doing like pop culture characters, and so he's drawing them up in his style, which is really, really cool, and he's posting them. So I did the Scarecrow of Romney Marsh. Is it from Romney Marsh? And I just liked that show as a kid. So Mike did a drawing of it. So I posted it around just to show it off, because I thought Mike did such a great job of it. And also it's just kind of, other people remember this show, because sometimes as a kid, you see things and then you're just like, nobody knows what this is. Like when I said Angel, like somebody in the chat knew what band that was. So I always think that nobody knows what this stuff is. So I posted around, and I got a few DMs, and somebody actually on my Twitter said, "You should ink that up, Art." And so I thought, wow, that would be cool. I never inked Mike in the day. There was an opportunity or an offer, but it didn't come through. I was going to ink Mike in the day on a Gambit miniseries, and so it fell through. And this was about, this was in the heyday of the X books. So I never really got to ink him, but I was always influenced by his style, and I always liked Mike. Like, Mike's a great guy. I'm always amazed when people know who I am. So whenever I see Mike, I always talk to him like he doesn't know who I am. And then he always has to remind me that we know each other, because it just still boggles my mind that somebody on this caliber even knows who I am. So yeah, I get a little starstruck too at times. I don't get stupid where I can't talk to these guys, but I just don't take it for granted that they know who I am. Because sometimes I just feel like a nobody compared to some of these guys. And so yeah, Mike's a really cool guy, and he's doing these drawings. So I posted it, and he, oh, I'm sorry, I got the DMs, and then people were saying, "Why don't you ink it?" So I thought I would do that. I would ink that piece up since I thought, I really liked it. I inked it up, and I did it on a live stream. And then as I was inking it up, I was thinking, I really can't sell this because it's not, I didn't commission the work, and I just, it's kind of unethical to do that. But I could raffle it off. And so I thought, okay, well, let's do that. So we did a live raffle. So what I did, so people could enter the raffle, is if you backed a chrono book, and if I got like, what was it, like 4 or 5 backers, if I got 4 or 5 backers during that live stream, we would do a raffle the next day. And I did. I got, 4 or 5 chrono backers, and we did the raffle, and it was a lot of fun. You guys just had a great time. I had a great time, and we were trying to figure things out on the fly, which is par for the course for me on these live streams. And so it was a lot of fun. So I asked you guys, would you want me to do this again? And just overwhelmingly, you guys said yes. So, and then I had 4 images, and I said, pick which image you would want me to do next. So I think I had Mechanical Hellboy. He's like a giant robot, and I think there was a city or something. And then I had Gigantor, and then I had this piece, which is all blown out, but you can see I'm kind of putting it together now. This HR Puffs and Stuff piece. And so then I said, 1 for this, 2 for that, and 3 for the other. And so everybody wanted the Gigantor piece. So that's the one I did. I did that live. But the close runner-up was, guess what? It was HR Puff and Stuff. So then a few days later, I think it was a week later, so we auctioned that one off, the Gigantor piece. And so then a week later, I asked you guys, you want to do this again? And you said yes. So this is interactive, you guys. We have to get backers, chrono backers, for this to happen, because I can't just give this away willy-nilly, as they say, as the kids say. They use the willy-nilly. So what I was thinking of doing is, today I'm going to transfer the Mike Mignola piece. Tomorrow or Wednesday, depending on my schedule, I'll ink it up live, and then Thursday or Friday early, we'll raffle it off. But we need 4 new chrono backers in that amount of time. So we won't do 24 hours. We'll do the whole week. So I'm kind of learning how this will work. But if we can get 4 or 5, like 5 would be ideal, backers, new backers on Chrono Mechanics, then we'll do it. We'll raffle it off. So we're at 550 backers right now. So let's just say if we get to 555, so that'll be a nice even number that we can remember. So if we can get 555 backers by the end of the week, we'll do the raffle, and somebody will get this piece of artwork that you'll get to see me generate live on the show. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And the thing is, with the raffle, you guys, everybody, all the backers are, except for the ones that already won, the 2 that already won, but all the backers from number 1 to, and you guys told me that there's higher numbers. There's higher numbers. So we're going to do all the numbers, not just 555 or whatever. But I think, because there's cancellations and stuff like that. So we're going to do all the numbers. So we've learned from the past, and we'll raffle that out. We'll get the number generator on the phone, and we'll pick a number, and then will get this piece of artwork into one of your hands. So if you guys, this is just a fun aside. The Chrono book is awesome. It is a labor of love. I pinch myself every day that I get to draw and create these things from my imagination, and you guys support it and you seem to enjoy it. And that means so much for somebody like me. I've gone my whole career wanting to do this type of thing, like to be not just independent of Marvel and DC, because that was never like, oh, I just want to be independent, but they call it, independent, comics. So I just wanted to be free to create my own things, because at my core, I really am a storyteller. I'm a creative person and a storyteller. I never looked at myself as just this or just that. I look at myself more as just like a creative person. Like I just like to create, whether it's music, whether it's painting, drawing, inking, writing, any of those things. I just like the creative process. So if I can get supported to do those things, it means so much to me. And I'm very, very thankful to you guys for helping make this happen. Because without the support, somebody like me is really nothing. I wouldn't be able to do much of anything. So the sad truth, and I really hate this, is that money, for the most part, does make the world go around, and money is our hunting gathering skills. Like if we don't make money, we don't eat. It's kind of that simple. So sometimes I just think of it in prehistoric or caveman times. Like if Papa Caveman went out and he couldn't land a rabbit or whatever the hell the prehistoric equivalence of that was, they just wouldn't eat that night. So, Dad's got to get good at hunting and gathering. Otherwise, you can't provide. And so money is our modern day equivalence of that. So the better you are at generating money, the better you're due. And the reason I say this is because there are assholes, and I hate these dingleberries, because and they're all hypocrites anyways, where they say money, capitalism, it's all evil, it's all bad. That's why I say it's hunting and gathering, because if you don't generate money, you don't do well. You don't do well in life. So the better you can hunt and you can gather, the better your family will do. And so that's why I say hunting and gathering, because it really is, money is important. We shouldn't say money's not important. Money is important. It may be, and I don't want to seem like money grubbing or any of that kind of crap either, but it's the most important thing that we can do for our families, is to generate money so we can pay for things, because we don't hunt anymore. We don't gather anymore. Our skill base is not on those things. Our skill base is on how much money we can make and earn for our family. So I think it gets under my skin when I hear people that demean money, and it's like, well, money isn't it? Well, yeah, money's not everything. No shit. But you're making the money so you can provide everything for your family, right? Like, it's not like none of us are getting rich. Most of us just want the basics of life and maybe a little bit of money saved up, so it makes it easier for us down the line. They used to call it rainy day money. So yeah, that's my little rant on money. It's not evil, you guys. It's no more evil than hunting, which those assholes probably think hunting is evil too. So I don't know. I don't know. But there are people that talk like that, and those people just I find hilarious. All right, I'm doing some detail now. The little nick hatches that I love that Mike does. And most of this I'm just kind of giving like placement for things. So this is pretty loose. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so Mike went that direction with the hatch, went that direction. Thicker there. Let me turn this off. So it's not real cool. They're more like indications. But what I do is I'll have the printout right next to me so I can get more of the soul. Because there is a certain level of soul and life that the pencils have that these little tracings can't really provide. So I'm going to have that when I ink it up. I'll have Mike's pencils in front of me so I can use that as inspiration. So I can keep the soul intact. Soul Train. So yeah, we have the mayor logo here. His mayor badge. Some more hatching. Okay. Let me see what time it is. 1 o'clock. Almost 1. Almost done, you guys. So thanks for hanging. I do appreciate it. And if you could smash that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I think I'm 1 away from 2,700. So I'm 300 and maybe 1 sub away from 3,000 subs. So that would be awesome if I could get to 3,000 subs soon. So if you guys like this content, please turn your friends on to it, tweet it out. I do appreciate it. Once again, everything we do is this is guerrilla marketing. It's getting the word out, one person at a time, winning people over with my sparkling personality and my drug conversations. Yeah, this piece of artwork, you guys, inspired me to talk about the drug days. The drugging days. Yeah, I have even more stories to tell. But I was actually kind of fearful that you guys are going to start judging me harshly. It's like Art's a dope head. We used to call those guys in school, we used to call them burnouts. Like there were people like us, but then there were kids like, holy shit, they were huffing paint and sniffing glue. Like, oh my gosh, you guys that's like ghetto. It's like ghetto drugs. Yeah, I didn't grow up in a ghetto, but it was definitely HUD homes. It was low income area. I think about my rock days, and you always hear like, oh, inner city kids learn how to play b-ball or box and stuff like that, and that's how they get out of the city. That's how they better their lives. I think white kids especially white kids of my generation, it was playing rock and roll, right? Like that was the thing, like that poor white kids did. Like there was no privilege in rock and roll, you guys. Like that AC/DC song, it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. Like that's kind of it. And even when that song was written, AC/DC they weren't like a big, huge arena rock band at the time. So yeah, most of the time that would happen. And when he says getting beat up, underpaid, like there's so many times, even in clubs, that we had to fight for our money. Like it literally got into like fisticuffs with club owners and stuff like that. They always had the bigger bouncers so they could kick these little scrawny rockers' asses. But yeah, I remember so many times getting into it with club owners, and then even when we play like backyards or different kind of parties and stuff like that, there would be fights over money. It was pretty crazy. I think this is done. Let me do this. I gotta forge Mike's signature here. The big G, as they call him. Okay. And then I'll sign mine live on the show. So all those open areas are pretty much going to be black. So on the arms and things like that, and in the mouth. And where you see the shadow, that's going to be hatching. So I'm already kind of figuring out what I'm going to do solid and what I'm going to do as hatching and then grayscale stuff. So I'll ink this up probably tomorrow, if not Wednesday. Like I said, it's going to depend on my schedule. So if you guys want to win this in the form of a raffle, hop on over, click the link in the description for Chrono Mechanics and back a book, and then you will be eligible for the raffle. And we will raffle this off probably Thursday, Friday of this week. I don't like to commit to actual days just because my schedule changes so much from day to day. So I kind of have these nebulous dates planned, but I like to stay loose just in case other things come up, which they usually do. So that's that. And the pre-launch page as well, you guys. So we have a black and white pre-launch page. If you sign up and back a book, you will get a free black and white trading card. And the black and white Second Chance Indiegogo campaign is going to launch later this month, probably last week. Once again, you have these nebulous goals that you work towards. It's pretty hard to pinpoint things exactly, but that's the goal at this point. So we're putting together the site right now. The trading card is done. It's all over my social media if you guys want to see it, the Zach Bradley trading card. And we are going to have all kinds of fun stuff. We're going to have an early bird special. And like I said, this piece of artwork right here, you guys, you can't see it real well, but this is going to be the main art for the campaign. So it's black and white, smashing the crap out of robots. So let me wrap things up, go in the chat. Thanks you guys so much for hanging with me. It helps to try to get things done. And yeah, Mighty Joe Young, I got your signatures here, so I'll be mailing that out later this week. So if you're good at something, don't ever do it for free. Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of pseudo free, I guess. Like so, like the trading card is free if you back. You know, you got to give me your email address, and you back a book. So it's free in that sense. And then like this artwork here, it's going to be a raffle, but you know, we're going to try to get some more backers on Chrono, and then do this. So there kind of is a little bit of a price. I think most things for free still have some strings, but I guess it's as free as you're going to get in this day and age. Actually, in most day and age, I don't think anything was ever free. Rich Cook says, yeah, I hate saying talented guys that are starving artists, but I do see money destroy art sometimes on the other side of that. Yeah, I mean, there's always the flip side. There's many different things that happen, and sometimes they're happening all at the same time. So it depends on the individual. You know, back to my drug, early drug conversation. There were friends that I used to think if they were more functional and they were making some real money, it would be scary because they would probably have killed themselves. Because if they weren't relying on me to buy the drugs or somebody else that actually made money, they would probably have killed themselves in excess because they couldn't say no. So sometimes I thought, with this one friend specifically, that I'm not going to say his name, I was always kind of relieved that he didn't have money, that he wasn't successful, because I thought if he was successful, he would be dead within the year because he didn't know how to say no. So there are people that money can destroy, but then that wouldn't even taken that much money to destroy that guy. I'm not talking about millions of dollars. There's some conversation going here that I'm trying to catch up on. I got a piano, play piano at doing Tommy the Musical. Oh wait, is this the Tesla was terrible with money and had no business sense. Literally, humanity is the worse off for it. The moment he died, all his writings, research, and inventions were seized. Yeah, and that's another thing. There's the artists, there's the talent that just don't have a business sense either. I'm really somewhere in the middle, but it's weird because when I have to wear both hats, I think I don't necessarily do well at the same time. I do better if I'm kind of all business or all artwork. So I have a hard time bridging the gap. I can do both, but doing it at the same time is quite a challenge. Okay, so you guys are talking about the Tesla stuff. Yeah, it's really sad. And then it's kind of like Edison was better at branding. We talked about the what were they? What was their name? The oh my gosh, the studio that competed against Disney in the day, the Fleischer Studios and then the Disney Studios. And there's a lot of debate on who did what first and things like that. And Disney was just better at branding. So there's always going to be that too. There's going to be that guy that makes the breakthrough, and then the person that figures out how to monetize it better. So there's always invention and then commerce. So those things, I guess go hand in hand. When I was in a band, and you see it in comics too. Like if somebody comes up with a new way of doing something, drawing something, or writing something, or creating something in comics, you'll start seeing other people do it. They'll use that style, and integrate it into their work. And music does the same thing. And like success breeds success. So people use those templates, and they keep things going. So I think it's just the way people are, the way humans are wired. So there's always going to be that stuff. And so the sad thing is there's always going to be somebody that doesn't profit off of their creations or their inventions as well. Thank you so much, Arthur Brown, for posting this. Yeah, the Chrono campaign is still going strong. It's in demand right now. And my wife and I were debating whether to put in a new stretch goal because we're going to go to print soon. So I don't know if we're going to close down the stretch goal stuff when we go to print, because if we do, we probably don't want to add another stretch goal. But if we don't, then we're going to add another stretch goal. So we're still talking right now whether we're going to, when we go to print, of keeping the in-demand store open, but closing down the stretch goals, meaning that everybody up to that point will receive all the stretch goal goodies, but anybody after that will just receive the tier that they order, just as a way to separate the campaigns. And also, once we start printing and making these things, I don't know how many more we're going to have to make to compensate for the in-demand store. So it also, one, it makes the one campaign a little bit more special, but it also, in a practical way, will help us to only make as many as we need for the campaign versus over printing and over manufacturing, because those things cost money as well. So it'll be a bigger gamble for us, because we'll be spending more money in hopes that we're going to get backers after the book is printed and things like that. So my wife Pamela and I, she's my co-partner on everything. She runs Hack Shack Studios with me, and she's my co-writer on Chrono. We're going back and forth on this, and I know we got to make a decision soon. We did price out some patches. So if we are going to do another stretch goal, it's going to be the Team 9.2 of Sector 7 team patch. And we're going to get that embroidered up. We already got prices on it, and we have a manufacturer standing by. We just have to make a decision on it. Flesher, Disney Any Day, the animation was beautiful. Yeah, I mean, they were both pushing the envelope. Like if you could, I don't know what the Flesher Studios would have done, like if they could have kept moving forward, because what I liked about what Flesher was doing is those Superman cartoons. Could you imagine if they had more money? We could have maybe had Batman cartoons. Maybe, instead of Hanna-Barbera and Funimation and some of these other companies, we could have had, better animation for these superheroes. Batman, Justice League, even when Marvel came around, they could have done Marvel cartoons. So that would have been great, because those Superman cartoons, they were stylized, but those were human beings. Like, they managed to, somebody was saying they rotoscoped, but I don't know if they rotoscoped, because I think they still had to build those things on model. So if they were rotoscoping, they were still building a physique, because no human being looks like that. So they were still using some kind of model. So I'm not sure that stuff was totally rotoscoped or not. Or if it was a combination of rotoscope. We have Couch Doodles. Hey, Dan, congratulations, man. Your campaign is doing stellar. I am so happy for you. I mean, from the bottom of my heart, man, congratulations. I am so happy to see somebody that works so hard and is so talented do as well as you are. So if you guys don't know, and you've been, under a rock, Dan Fraga has a Indiegogo campaign. I think he's on week 2 now, and he's just heating it up, man. He is selling books like crazy. So go check out his in-demand shop. It's called Black Flag, his comic book. And he's kind of doing the same thing that we did with black and white, where he's taking his 94, 95. I don't know, like it all blurs because there was maybe a 2 or 3 year span, like from 93 to maybe 95, that we were doing these. We were doing independent stuff with Extreme, but we were doing our own independence as well. And for me, it was like 93 to 95. So 93 started with the creation and then the backup features for black and white in the Extreme titles. And then 94 was the mini series. And then 95 was launching the ongoing. So that's kind of where that was. So yeah, go check out Fragaboom. Yeah, the Fleischer Studios was great. That would have been cool to see if they could have done more superhero stuff. Superheroes. Oh, this is a free sign up trading card. If you go and sign up for the black and white second chance. So if you don't know the second chance, let me see if I have one of the books, and then I'm gonna part ways with you guys. Where is my black and white book? I got a mess here of stuff. Oh, here it is. So this is the Greg Capullo book. So we have 200 of these left. So once they're done, they're done. Once they sell, they sell. So this is volume 1. So this is the variant cover. We have a cover done by me. And so this is going to be the second chance. So we shut down the first campaign, maybe a little premature, because a lot of people kept theirs open and did another 10,000 or so in sales. So we shut it down maybe a little bit early, but we were still kind of pioneering stuff back then. So we didn't really know. And the reason I wanted to shut it down at that point is to show good faith that we were in production as far as printing and fulfillment. So I thought at the time, there would be a good like separation between the two. And so that's why I did that. And I think it worked at the time, showed good faith. But now I think people are used to the book staying in demand for a long, long period of time. So Dan is taking over the chat. Yeah, so Dan will be dropping he'll be dropping his interview with Mike Mignola on his channel. Yeah, Mike's a good guy. I like Mike a lot. And I'll be inking some Mike artwork. So this will be Comicsgate Mike Mignola Spotlight Week. Yes, please smash that button. Greg Capullo is awesome. Yes, he is indeed. So I think I need to get some lunch. And then don't forget, you guys, I'm going to go on Skits Comics at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, so 5 o'clock Eastern. And who knows what kind of shenanigans we're going to get into. We're definitely going to get into some shenanigans, and I'm pretty sure you guys will be asking me drug stuff in the chat since I've pretty much opened up that door for stuff. It's crazy days. Things you did. I think it was a sign of the times too. I think the 70s and 80s were pretty much they were drug days for most of us. We did some stuff. We did some crazy stuff. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Dan. Yeah, make sure you subscribe. Yeah, I got to compete with Dan's channel, man. Dan just freaking heated up. He just took over. We were kind of going neck and neck for a while. And so he's well over 3,000. So it'd be awesome to be able to get my little Hack Shack channel over 3,000 as well. I think we're only 301 away from 3,000. So we're really, really close. And Angel Dust Dreams. I smoked dust. I smoked the dust. Thank you so much, James Dean Anderson. And these are the things I was talking about. So I've been trying to connect with James for the last couple days. I might be doing some stuff with him as far as design work. So James, for the record, I got my lunch, skits for an hour or so, and then you're going to be top priority. I'll give you a call, and then I can lay out some stuff and see if we can come to terms on doing some projects together. So thank you so much, James Dean Anderson, for the $2. Howdy, and we'll talk later today for sure. Terror Wombat, what the hell does he have to say? Tell stories about farts and fridges. I'll get over the hump. I'll tell you, there's a story, if Dan's still in the chat. And maybe I should talk to Dan privately first and then tell the story, because I don't know how many names we should drop, because Extreme Studios, man, people that came out of that studio, especially inkers. Well, there are a lot of pencil talents too, but there was a ton of inkers that came out of that studio. And there were some superstars that came out of that studio under my tutelage. But there are names. And I just don't know if we should talk around these people and not name drop, or if we should say their names, because some of these stories, they're not casting light in a good way on some of these people. Good friends, good people, but we all do stupid shit, especially when we're young, and more specifically when we worked at Extreme Studios. I think everybody's got a stupid shit story at Extreme Studios. So yeah, maybe I'll run that by Dan privately and see if I could, because if I could name drop, I think the story would be so much better. But if not, the story is still pretty interesting. And it's a story that he has not brought up. So this is possibly less overall studio and maybe more between me and the individuals. Because everybody had like, you know, just like the world, you have like cliques. So there was a studio overall, we all interacted, but there were also like these little cliques that we hung out in. And so there's another story of lunch. We always used to go out to lunch, and there was a guy that would always go out with us, and he would order dessert, and then he would excuse himself from the lunch table before the money was due. And so somehow he always got out of paying for his dessert, and he got out of paying for the tip. So, and it would be funnier if we could name names. Oh man, if I hang out longer, I'll get more money from James. So enjoy your lunch, hippie. Later. No, dude, I was not a hippie. Dude, I was not a burnout. We hung out with those burnout dudes, but I was not a burnout. I will say one thing. My sister was a hippie. So the hippies were kind of they were a little older than us. And so they were like my sister's 5 years older. So like that generation was more hippie. But then what we called them, like the hip kids like us, we called them burnouts. Like they were burnout. So they were listening to like the burnout music from the 60s and stuff like that. Like when I was young, I wouldn't even listen to the Beatles because I thought the Beatles were burnout music. So like the Doors and like some of that older 60s stuff, like Hendrix, like we used to call that burnout music. Little did we know the bands that we were listening to grew up on those bands and were influenced by them. And not till you mature a little bit that you realize that there are these ripple effects that exist creatively. So when we were calling them burnouts, they were just more pioneers as far as music. Okay, so there's that. Citizens and police are listening. 501 Hendrix Ack. Hendrix is brilliant. I know all that stuff now, you guys, but the really cool thing about life is like I shunned that stuff when I was younger, but then when I got older and I got more into music writing and theory and stuff like that, I started going back and I realized that the music that I was more influenced by directly was influenced by this other stuff. And I think even like creators, like comic book creators, start realizing that too. They start going back and they start realizing where certain things came from and how we got to this point. And then it's always good to pay homage to those guys. It's always good to still point the spotlight at them, because we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for a lot of these pioneers. But I was young and stupid, so I thought those guys were burnouts. Even in the day, like, I like to draw realistic. I thought like people that drew like Jack Kirby were like hacks. Like, I didn't have any respect for them when I was younger. But now I see what he did. I mean, he created universes in a style, and it was consistent. And then as an older guy, you realize how genius that was. Like, there was a style, there was a universe within a universe. So he had these universes that he created, but then they were drawn in this specific way. That was then a Kirby universe. So just crazy stuff. Homage, I thought you worked for Extreme. I worked for both. I had no loyalty. I was a hero for hire. My buddy said he had friends. Yeah, I think kind of Mike Mignola would be like the modern day equivalence of Kirby. Like, if I grew up, I probably wouldn't have liked Mike Mignola, because I'd go, look at how simple it is. It's so dumb, you know? But in reality, it's freaking genius. Got Mignola on Kirby. I'm not sure what that is. Is that a sexual reference? Ronnie Montrose. Holy shit, you guys. I like Montrose. I saw them in the day. Yeah, you know what? Like Pink Floyd too. Like, I didn't listen to that stuff because I was like, that's burnout music. And now I listen to it all the time. But like I said, the cool thing is that I listen to it now and it's almost like it's new music. There is one band that I grew up on, being in Southern California. You grow up on this band specifically, and they were the Eagles. I can't listen to the Eagles now. I burnt myself out on the Eagles. That stuff might be genius and it might be brilliant. I cannot listen to it. Mercenary, yes. So Tara Wombat is a mercenary colorist. I was a mercenary comic book artist. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this up. It's 1:19 California time. And like I said, at 2 o'clock, I'm going to be hanging out with Skits Comics. And God only knows what kind of crazy shit we are going to get into. So thanks, you guys, for letting me hang out. Got some work done, so I feel like I did my due diligence. I was moving forward. And yes, go by and give me your email address. Sign up for the pre-launch page, and you will get a free trading card with a backing. So that's my main thing. And also, if you guys want to be eligible for that Mike Mignola raffle, please back a Chrono Mechanics book. And if we get 5 backers by the end of the week, 5 new backers, then we will do a raffle, and one of you lucky listeners will get that piece of artwork. So Couch Doodles at 8 Eastern time. Watch Couch Doodles, you guys. So go over and like and sub Dan's channel as well. The New York Dolls, what a bunch of freaks, right? Yeah, but you know what? Pioneers, we wouldn't have had Kiss. I think Kiss and a lot of those other dress-up bands, the more kind of, well, what do they call that? What was that called? Not emo rock, but it was like glam rock, I guess they called it. Yeah, that all came out of that stuff. All right, you guys. So take care. Enjoy. I'll see you in an hour or so on Skits Comics. Take care.